Hello, good afternoon po sa lahat. Ako po si Dr. Wen Raimundo ng Faculty of Education ng UP Open University. And I'd like to welcome all of you to this afternoon session on quality assurance. So ito po medyo excited po ako for this afternoon dahil po ito pong ating webinar ay hindi yung usual na pangkaraniwan na pinag-uusapan natin. Di po ba minsan lagi na lang kunyari sa course design o kaya po yung mga assessment. Maganda po mga topics pero ito po ay hindi madalas ma-discuss sa mga teachers. So I hope po na meron kayong matututunan kahit hindi po ganun ka-mainstream ang topic natin ngayon. I hope na meron po kayong mapupulot na magagamit ninyo, not just for your course but also your program and your institution. So magsa-start na po ako mag-share ng aking screen. Okay, so I'd like to ask for confirmation. Nakikita niyo po ba ang aking PowerPoint? I suppose. Yes po, no? Okay, so this afternoon we will be learning about quality assurance. At mag-uumpisa po tayo sa magbibigay po ako ng presentation outline. I divided my talk into 3 parts. Ang una po ay we will learn what is quality. Tapos po, we will move on and learn about what is quality assurance. And for the last part, pag-uusapan po natin, how is quality assurance done in flexible learning? So, umpisa po muna tayo sa what is quality? Alam niyo po, ang quality, medyo tricky topic yan. Sabi nga po, most of the literature and actually the articles on quality say that it's a slippery slope. Bakit po? Sabi po nila kasi, quality is relative. Ano po ibig sabihin nun? Quality is relative to the beholder. Depende po yan sa kung sino ang kausap mo, depende sa perspective niya, depende rin sa konteksto niya. Actually, quality may mean different things to different people, and it can also mean different things to the same person under different circumstances. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? For example po, kayo ay nag-aaral nag-aaral po kayo sa isang traditional na institution, education institution, yung tinatawag po nating brick and mortar na face-to-face ang teaching, na matagal na po, established na po ito, kilala na po ito sa larangan ng edukasyon. Lahat po ng classes ay face-to-face at natututo po kayo sa mga teachers na nakatayo sa harap ng klase nyo sa classroom. At syempre po, maganda naman ang performance. Kaya for you, quality ang aking institution kasi traditional yan at face-to-face ang instruction. Pag nakakuha ka ng degree dyan, quality ang degree yan. Tapos may makikita ka na may mga iba, mga bagong institutions na fully online or distance learning. Para yata hindi ako masyadong sure sa quality ng programs nila. Sasabihin nyo, sa inyo, baka hindi quality kasi hindi man lang face-to-face ang instruction eh. And then, naabutan tayo ng pandemic. Gusto niyo po magtuloy ng inyong pag-aaral, you happen to enroll in a fully distance learning institution. Tulad po example ng UP Open University, which is fully online. Yan po yung aming institution. And then na-realize niyo po, ito pala mga distance learning institution, since it's an institution na willing distance education teachers at mga willing na distance learners with a well-designed course, good instructional design, and prepared po ang lahat ng support systems, na-realize na quality rin pala to. Nagkamali pala ako. Quality pala yung program na pinasukan ko dito sa isang fully online na DE institution. And so that means, nagbago yung perspective mo ng quality. You are the same person, but now quality means different to you under different circumstances. Isa pa pong bagay na medyo relative when it comes to quality is relative to the standard that one maintains. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? For instance po, meron po mga iba sa atin na merong absolute standard of quality na talagang kailangan mangyari yun, kailangan maabot yung standard na yon para ma-consider na quality. For example po, gusto mo perfect ka sa test, 100. Kung hindi 100, hindi quality yung performance mo doon sa exam. Pero meron din naman, kunyari, o kaya let's say vaccines. Pag kunyari, ang standard mo ba ng quality, 100%? Paano ko yung provider ng vaccine sabi 90%, 93% effective ang vaccine na to at talagang na-establish na okay ang ganyang level of efficacy. Tapos, kung ang claim ng provider na 93% ay na-attain nga at na-live up na sa expectations na 93%, considered quality yon kahit hindi ka umabot ng 100%. Kasi you were able to satisfy, the provider was able to satisfy its claim. So yun po ang isa pang ibig sabihin ng quality. Yung iba po ay absolute standard, yung iba ay as long as ma-meet ang claim ng provider, quality pa rin po yun. So as you can see, there are many different perspectives on quality. And if you look at the quality, the literature on quality, almost all books, literature, articles, you will come across this seminal or landmark article by Harvey and Green, 1993, on defining quality. Kilala po ito kasi si Harvey and Green ay meron po silang, parang nag-share sila ng kanilang perspective na meron actually 5 ways of thinking about quality in higher education. At makikita po natin ito dito sa circle na nandito sa aking presentation. Lahat po yan ay kino-consider quality para mga categories of quality. Pero iba-iba ang concept. Isa-isahin po natin. Ito pong una, quality as excellence. So maiintindihan nyo naman po yan, no? Excellence, achieving the highest of standards. So ang tinitingnan po dito ay outcome. Di po ba? Excellent yung outcome mo, quality yan. Ngayon, meron din namang nag-iba na ang tingin ay quality as perfection. Or you have a consistent or a flawless performance with 0 errors. So ito po, meron pong kinalaman na sa process. Kunyari po, wala kang pagkakamali, perfection, edi quality ngayon siya. Meron din namang iba na tinitingnan ito po, no? Quality as fit for purpose. Ano ibig sabihin ng fitness for purpose? Kapag na-satisfy mo yung need o yung purpose for which you are created or which what you are working for. As long as na-satisfy mo yon, quality pa rin. Meron din naman tinatawag na quality as value for money kung cost-effective. Kunyari po na-achieve mo yung level of quality with minimum of expense or kapag you achieve a level na hindi mo kailangan mag-spend as much or for the amount you spend or the investment that you spend, you get better returns. So para more of return of investment po ito, no? Mas cost-effective. Meron pang ganyang perspective ang quality. So those are the 4. Tapos ang last po ay tinatawag na quality as transformation. Kapag transformative, when it comes to higher education, dalawa po ang underlying principles niyan when it comes to the student. Yung first po is if you can enhance the learner, and the second underlying principle is if you can empower the learner. Then if you are able to do that, then you are a quality higher education institution. At sinasabi po nila, itong quality as transformation is actually, it encompasses all of this, the others. Yan po ang belief. It sort of unites all the other concepts of quality. So iba-iba po, marami tayong perspectives. Let's go to this diagram. Knowing po na iba-iba yung ating perception of what quality is. Kunyari po nasa higher education institution tayo, tapos marami po tayong stakeholders, di po ba, no? So, maaaring even among the stakeholders, iba-iba yung point of view nila, iba-iba yung perspective nila of what quality is. For example, kung ako student, ang quality sa akin is if may added value. If I go to this school, am I adding value to myself? Am I adding value to the knowledge I have or the skills that I have? Pagdating naman kunyari sa academia, the teachers and the institution, syempre quality is excellence, no? Excellent performance, achieving awards. Kapag naman kunyari sa assessors or accreditors, ang perspective mo of quality is if nakarating si institution sa threshold, the minimum threshold of what you consider to be quality. Pagdating din naman sa kunyari, pwede rin yan sa the view of external assessors aiming for improvement, pwede rin fitness for purpose if the institution is able to achieve or satisfy or attain the level that it was created for, no? Yung purpose nila. Kung na-satisfy yun, edi quality yan. Pagdating naman kunyari sa employers who are part of our stakeholders, kapag happy ka doon sa performance nung empleyado mo at happy din yung kliyente mo gawa ng performance nung employee mo, na estudyante dati nitong institution na to, edi quality siguro yung institution na yan kasi happy si employer, happy rin si client, happy si customer, di ba? And when it comes naman to the government and taxpayers' money, lalo na sa ating mga state universities and colleges or mga state institutions, ang view ng government and the taxpayers, if they're getting their monies, if they're getting their money's worth, if they're putting, kasi itong mga to, syempre subsidized ng gobyerno, value for money ba yung makukuha mo dyan? So even among these stakeholders, iba-iba pa rin ang view of quality. So from here, you can see that quality is really a multi-dimensional, multi-level and dynamic concept. And not only that, it relates to the context of the educational model. It also has to do with the institutional vision, mission, and objectives. And it also is related or it's related to the standards, the specific standards within a given system or institution or program or discipline. Ang operative word is the context. Konteksto. So yung iba ang setup, iba ang setting mo, iba ang setting ko, maaaring iba-iba ang ating perspective or views or standards of quality. Ngayon, for quality in higher education, dahil multi-level to, multidisciplinary, hindi ka pwede mag-assess based on only one parameter. So it should embrace all of the university's functions, hindi lang teaching. Although syempre, the university is basically an academic institution, pero hindi ka lang mag-zero in on teaching and academic programs. Titingin ka rin sa research and scholarship. Titingin ka rin sa staff. Titingin ka sa students. Titingin ka sa infrastructure, yung buildings, yung facilities, and equipment. Kasi lahat ito ay naka-tie up together. Titingin ka rin sa service to the community, bukod doon sa academic environment. Can you see my slide? Kita? Hello? Kita pa? Okay. So, now na pinag-usapan natin ang quality, punta naman tayo sa what is quality assurance? So, siguro, mas laganap ito doon sa mga institutions na nagpapa-assess or nagpapa-accredit or may mga benchmarking. So, quality assurance, UNESCO has this glossary of basic terms and definitions when it comes to quality assurance. And UNESCO defined quality assurance as, quote-unquote, an ongoing and continuous process of evaluating, assessing, monitoring, guaranteeing, maintaining, and improving the quality of a higher education system, the institutions, or programs. So higher education system is larger in scope. The institution refers to universities, and the programs are the different programs inside the university. So the key word is process. So ang QA, proseso siya, hindi siya standard or specification kung saan you measure yourself against para mo sabihin quality ka. Hindi siya set standard. It's actually a process. It's about making sure that in an institution, there are mechanisms in place para makita mo kung quality ba ang dinedeliver mo to your students and stakeholders. So there are mechanisms, procedures, and processes in place to ensure that the desired quality is delivered kahit pa anong definition mo ng quality or paano mo i-measure ang quality. Ang tinitingnan dito yung proseso. Okay? QA is a process of establishing stakeholder confidence that the input, the process, input, pagpasok mo dun sa school or sa institution, process, what happens while you are in the school, and outcomes, how the graduates turn out at the end of their studying in the program. It's a process of establishing confidence that all these processes fulfill the expectations or the measures that measure up to the threshold minimum requirements of what you view as quality. So it's kind of it's a combination, as a regulatory mechanism, it's a combination of both being accountable, having accountability to your stakeholders and your students, and improving yourself. So it's providing information and evidence and feedback, judgment, using an agreed upon and consistent process and well-established criteria. Now, when you are in the quality assurance, when we talk about QA, meron dyan dalawang klase. Meron tinatawag na internal QA at meron external QA. Internal QA is yung quality assurance processes within the institution. So intra-institutional siya, you want to monitor yourself and improve the quality of the education, educational services and the instruction that you deliver. When you talk about external QA, syempre external to your institution. So maaaring inter-institutional, meaning you are benchmarking against yung mga fellow universities, more institution, or supra-institutional, meaning there is a body that is above you, separate from you, to assure quality of higher education institutions and programs. Ano po ang mga to? Like kunyari, meron mga assessing bodies like AU and QA or mga PAASCO, o mga PACUCOA. These are supra-institutional assessors or EQA, external quality assessors. Now, meron bang benefits ang QA? Meron naman. Meron naman. So ano ang beneficial uses of QA? First of all, you learn from others through your peer review processes. Kasi syempre, hindi ang hirap naman nung parang ikaw lang ang tinutumitingin sa sarili mo. Sometimes you end up believing your own hype na parang ang feeling mo, ang galing ko naman. Syempre, wala kang bine-benchmark na ibang kasama mo to tell you na, okay ka naman, pero meron ding ibang mga hindi mo pa nagagawa na ginagawa namin. Tapos sila naman, meron ka ring ginagawa na hindi pa namin ginagawa. Paano mo ba ginagawa ito? So you learn from each other through the peer review processes. Then you become aware of your differences. Again, through this thorough review and benchmarking. You need to compare yourself with someone or some other institution, di ba? And then when you try to improve your teaching and your research processes, syempre, gumaganda ang function ng higher education institution mo. You improve on it, di ba? You improve on your institution. And this it facilitates institutional change agendas. Kasi syempre, no one wants to be stagnant. You want to move forward, you want to move on, you want to improve. Di ba? Kasi hindi naman, the only thing constant is change, right? So gusto mo naman na hindi ka na pag-iiwanan. At gusto mo naman syempre, you remain relevant, not just to yourself and to your students and to your teachers, but also to society as a whole. So, pag nalalaman mo, yes?
Hello po.
Yes?
Ma'am, nawala
Hello?
po yung slides.
Ano wala? Oh, sorry. Kanina pa ba?
Medyo na.
Naku, teka. Okay. Saan pa nawala? Kanina pa ako nagsasalita. Okay. Wait lang. Can you see now? Hindi pa?
Yes po.
Okay. Saan kaya, can someone tell me where hindi ko naman uulitin. I just want to, sorry. Can someone tell me kung hanggang saan yung huling nakita nila? Ito, nakita ba nila itong Anyway, nandito tayo sa beneficiary. Can you see? Organizing staff?
Ma'am.
Can you see my slides? Okay. Are they ano ba? Are they mute? Can they unmute themselves
No
on
po.
their own? Tayo lang.
Opo, yes ma'am.
Okay. Oo. Sorry ha, kasi I can't see anyone. Now I see so many hands raised. I'm so sorry. But can you just please monitor the minsan kasi I don't know why, pero nawawala.
Sige po ma'am.
Papabantay na lang ha. Okay.
Opo, opo. Noted po.
Now,
Thank you ma'am.
okay. Now you can see na. You can see.
Yes po.
Ito. Okay. So, sige. So, ayan. Sorry. Okay. Ayan. You will be able to watch this naman in the course site. You can watch this in full. So you can just okay lang naman na you listen kanina, but you can watch, you can go back and see the slides that you missed in the recap or the rerun of the session in the course site. So going back to the benefits. Now, when you have evidence of how your institution is functioning and kung ano yung performance mo, mas makakagawa ka ng magandang decisions, di ba? There's greater evidence-based decision making, not just by the students and the teachers, but also the administrators of the, let's start with the managers and the administrators of the school. Tapos meron kang mga stakeholders like yung mga employers. And you can also, it can go all the way up to policymakers of the country, 'di ba? Kunyari yung mga CHED at saka yung mga gumagawa ng policy. Pag na-assess yung quality mo kasi you have evidence on hand that can help people make decisions. Okay? So, now let's go to the third aspect of ito. Dun sa, ngayon, syempre, alam mo na ngayon kung ano yung quality assurance, di ba? So ang tanong, meron ba tayong ganyan dito sa ano? Meron naman. And actually, it's worldwide. But maganda mag-focus na dun tayo sa ating region. No? So sa ASEAN, meron naman tayong mga quality assurance networks. Ang tawag ito yung mga regional quality assurance networks. Kasi syempre, yung konteksto ay mas malapit doon sa atin. So, meron tayo kunyari ng ASEAN Quality Assurance Network or ACAN. Tapos yun ang ginagamit nila, merong framework na ASEAN Quality Assurance Framework. Tapos meron din, you may be familiar, some of you may be familiar with the AUN, ASEAN University Network Quality Assurance, or AUNQA. Many of the institutions in the Philippines have applied for assessment in AUNQA, and gumagawa sila ng both program assessment, yung program meaning yung degree program, yung Bachelor of Science in Biology, or meron din naman institutional QA, kunyari pinapa-assess yung buong institution, kunyari yung mismo buong institution, like the university itself. Okay? So, AUNQA is known for being it's not prescriptive. Hindi sila accredited. They're very adamant about, they insist na talaga you need to realize that they are not accreditors. They are non-prescriptive. Hindi nila sasabihin na mali ka or dapat ganito ka. They assist you in reviewing, in assessing yourself. So they're they want to be seen as peers, parang peer review. Okay? So, now, maraming pang ibang frameworks, institutional level na frameworks, at ang around the world, no? And ang mahalagang maalala is AUNQA is aligned at the institutional level with other QA frameworks. For instance, kunyari yan sa Europe, no? Tapos meron din sa USA, yung Baldrige sa Amerika. Lahat yan, kasi pag yung mga frameworks na yan, kahit syempre, may mga pag-iba-iba ng konti, gawa nga ng konteksto, pero the basic underlying principles are the same. At makikita natin yan mamaya. Yung tinatawag na dimensions. Okay? So, ang tawag natin dito ngayon, para siyang transnational QA framework. Kasi it cuts across different continents, it cuts across different countries. Pero kahit pa sabihing iba-iba yung framework nila, medyo similar naman ang underlying principles. Okay? Now, so we're done with what is quality and we're done with what is quality assurance. Punta tayo ngayon dun sa paano kaya ngayon magka-quality assurance? How is it done in flexible learning? Right? Now, ang una mo munang tanungin, ano ba yung flexible learning? And ito very relevant sa atin, lalo na itong pandemic. Kasi this is the definition by CHED. I pulled this out from the CHED memo, Guidelines on the Implementation of Flexible Learning. And flexible learning, according to CHED, flexible learning is a pedagogical approach allowing flexibility of time, place, and audience, including but not solely focused on the use of technology. So technology-enabled siya, technology-enhanced, pero hindi siya solely nakafocus doon. At ito ay kailangan natin i-distinguish, hindi ba nagkaroon muna ng controversial nung in-announce ni chair ni chair na flexible learning, we won't go back to the old ways and flexible learning may be the way to go. And daming nag-react, no? Now, flexible learning is not the same as remote emergency learning and remote online learning, which is also not the same as distance education. Okay, they are very different. The basic difference being, umpisahan natin sa distance learning. Pag ikaw ay dedicated distance education institution at talagang online, talagang fully online distance education institution, kunyari like UP Open University, you don't deliver the same kind of instruction, or kasi iba yung context mo kesa dito sa mga dating sa mga traditional schools na brick and mortar na sanay sa face-to-face pedagogy na bigla na lang napilitan mag-migrate into remote learning. Iba yon, no? That's why they call it remote instruction or emergency remote learning. Hindi mo pwedeng sabing online learning yan kasi iba naman ang konteksto. Hindi naman lahat willing distance, hindi naman lahat ng teachers ay willing distance education teachers. Hindi sila lahat na ganun kaalam. Yung mga students, hindi rin naman willing distance learners. Di ba? Napilitan lang naman mag-migrate yung karamihan. Iba rin yan sa flexible kasi ang flexible nakapaloob na dyan yung blended learning. Depende yan ngayon. Tulad nga ng definition na to, depende kung anong meron ka na pwedeng gawin. So flexible ka. Parang blended yan, pwedeng halong face-to-face, tapos may konting online, pwede naman din na totally offline, na distance learning, pero walang technology, offline. Marami. So flexible, depende sa konteksto. Now, although it commonly uses the delivery methods of distance education and educational technology, like I mentioned earlier, flexible learning may vary depending on the levels, depende again on the context. Depende sa level ng technology na meron ka, the availability of devices, the internet connectivity, the level of digital literacy of both the student and the teacher, and the various approaches employed. So flexible. Okay? Now, bakit ngayon importante ang quality assurance in flexible learning? Kasi syempre, these are new forms of delivery. Tapos, yung iba, syempre, pag sinabi mo naman flexible, hinahalo mo naman face-to-face and online or probably offline. Ngayon, as these different methods, habang lumalaganap sila at nagda-diversify, kailangan mo i-ensure that these new forms of delivery ay hindi nakaka-bring down ng quality ng education qualifications. Instead, they should support rather than reduce the value, the quality, and the validity. Bakit? Hindi po ba dati noong unang panahon na wala pa namang internet, nag-start ang distance learning as correspondence education? Di po ba? may makikita ka mail order, parang you have the institution sends you your materials, you answer them, and then you send it. So ganun po ang sistema noon. Hello? Can you hear me? Bakit ako biglang na-mute? Something's happening to the platform. Anyway, so kung kunwari, dati may parang stigma pag kunyari distance learner or distance education or kahit nga online. Kunyari pag distance learner, yung iba parang sasabihin, ika-question na hindi naman siguro yung quality niyan is put into question. Kasi is that degree as good as one that was obtained from face-to-face instruction na traditional institution? Pag online, ayan na, di syempre pag online learning, sasabihin, reliable, ano ba yan? Quality ba yung program na yan? But over the years, lalo na nung nagkaroon ng internet at nagkaroon na ng ganitong quality assurance, and now na even the big respected institutions, kunwari, like here, yung mga mahuhusay na institutions sa Amerika, kunyari mga Ivy League, they have their own online or distance learning programs. Alam natin na if you have kapag kahit online ang education or distance learning, if it's a well-designed program, maganda ang instructional design, maganda ang preparation, maganda ang delivery, maganda ang resources, you're just as good or even better than other programs which are being delivered face-to-face in brick and mortar institutions. So kailangan yung flexible learning, since may component of online learning, kailangan i-ano mo siya, parang make sure na quality, di ba? Right? Now, yan. As the use of online technologies become more integrated into how you teach in the brick and mortars, kailangan mo rin syempreng i-recognize na yung outcome na lalabas, yung outcomes ng higher, kunyari yung mga bata, yung mga estudyanteng papasok sa higher education institutions, tapos blended ang approach or flexible, yung outcomes ay kailangan mong i-evaluate regardless of yung delivery mode. Kasi hindi mo naman pwede ibubukod mo, kasi ito ay dineliver, natutunan niya to through online learning, ito ay face-to-face. Hindi ganun. No? So, you need to put them all at par with each other. Kaya kailangan i-assess mo ngayon ang online component. Now, paano mo gagawin? Paano ba? Ano ba ang tanong natin how has this been, no? Sa ano ba yung landscape ng online and open education worldwide? Paano ngayon yung models of quality nila? Paano ginagawa? And ano ba yung landscape? Ngayon, syempre, wala rin masyadong may alam dati. Pero now, because of that, the International Council for Open and Distance Education, which is a global organization, they embarked on this ambitious and very comprehensive study and research in 2015, and they wanted to look precisely into this. Ano ba yung mga quality models in online, and ano ba yung status ng quality models ng online and open education around the world. And this is recognized as the first global overview of quality models in online learning. And this is very relevant kasi this was delivered for the new global educational agenda, Global Education 2030 na. No? So yung bagong agenda na. And it painted the current landscape of quality, not just the landscape of quality, but also the challenges that online and blended and flexible programs face. And it also underscored or highlighted or showed the complexity of quality in online learning. Hindi mo siya ma-evaluate in a simple way as marami kang ibang metrics or parameters or dimensions na kailangan i-consider. You also need to address new needs. Kunyari, dati wala namang massive open online courses. Dati hindi naman laganap ang open educational resources. So now you have to, may mga new needs ito. You have to learn how to assess quality in MOOCs and in OERs. This report also showed that one size does not fit all. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-generalize. Hindi kasi iba-iba nga ang konteksto ng iba-ibang institution. It also underscored na important ang quality of student experiences, no? Improving the quality of the student experience. Kaya ngayon, you have institutions na that really look into student support, or even the experience of just being on campus, or not. It doesn't have to be that you're in class. Their experience of being a student in that school or in that campus, no? You need to improve the quality of the student experience. And one important thing that they underscored is that itong mga QA models or frameworks, it should not restrict innovation. How does this happen? Kasi syempre hindi ba, if you have criteria, or kunyari meron kang QA criteria or framework, and then there's this institution that's different. They're doing something that doesn't quite fit into the criteria that you have. Are you going to give them a low assessment because they're different? Mali mo, they're trying to they're trying to innovate, diba? They're trying to try something new, something different. And if your model restricts this, or assesses them low, which will make them question whether it's prudent to do this innovative initiatives, edi parang ni-restrict mo yung innovation at saka yung change na maganda sana magagawa nila. So dapat yung model mo should be able to adapt to these kinds of innovation and change. The report also looked into the quality concept and the aspects of quality. Tapos, kasi ang ginawa nila, they looked at the different global models, more than mga 40 models all over the world, or quality frameworks. Paano sila mag-assess, paano sila mag-certify, or mag-benchmark, or mag-accredit. So, tinignan nila lahat ito. And, after all the studying that they did, they just realized that talagang there is still a huge gap in the knowledge, on QA models, on quality models in online learning. And there's a huge gap in knowledge building, in knowledge sharing, in capacity building, and also in coordination. And this is in 2015. So maraming models for QA in open, distance, flexible, online education, e-learning. If you try to search in the web, you will find a lot. They share many common features, and many are designed to offer flexibility kasi nga, you have to adapt it to different contexts. But generally, the finding is that there are 3 levels by which you can apply the quality concepts at. The first is, of course, the macro level. When you look at you look at this internationally at the national or international level. The second is what they call the meso level, which is institutional. And the last is the micro level, which is individual practice of teachers. Now, the models in the literature that 2015 ICDE covered, marami dito address the macro and the meso. Kasi medyo mahirap din, individual practice, again, different various contexts, medyo mas hindi ganun karami, and mahirap i-evaluate kasi nga iba-iba yung konteksto. Pero anong relevance nito? Kasi yung makikita nyo yung dimensions, when you go to the different dimensions, and you will see this later, pag yung mga macro and yung mga, syempre pag nasa level ka na ng institution at saka national level at ina-assess mo quality, ayan, titignan mo, syempre yung mga management, di ba? May management component and how it's run, the processes, tapos the staffing, and so on. ina-assess yung quality na dapat lang naman talaga. But if you're let's say you're an instructor at ang gusto mo lang naman is iniano mo, paano ko kaya masisiguro na the course I'm teaching, ganun kasimple lang, that the course I'm teaching, I'm not thinking big, I'm not thinking national level, university level. Gusto ko malaman kung maayos ba ako magturo. Tama ba yung course na dinideliver ko? Tama ba, maayos ba yung pagkakagawa ko ng course pa ko? That's your concern because that's the level you want to work on. So, may mga framework na pwede mong gawin yon. May mga framework na syempre beyond you na, no? Kasi mas mataas na level. But there are quality assurance frameworks for all these levels. Now, among these standard models that were reviewed, syempre again, mine-mention ko na they were developed for different purposes, tapos they were created in different contexts, tapos in different times. But, so syempre, hindi ka pwede again mag-generalize kasi hindi ka rin pwede mag-recommend na, ito mas mahusay o ito mas maganda to kasi sa iba, no? Mas maganda yung ginagawa nilang framework. Kasi, the contexts are different. Iba yung purpose ng institution. Iba rin yung maturity ng institution. And we're talking about the maturity of the quality management of the institution. Yung iba, bago pa lang sa kanila ang QA. Yung iba, medyo matagal na sila nag-QA, di ba? Iba-iba. So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-generalize. Now, every time, ano ba ang framework? Ang framework kasi is just a systematic way of making sure that there are certain criteria and you are measuring yourself against what they call indicators. Parang yung mga rubrics in a way, no, performance indicators. So merong dimensions and per dimensions, meaning ano ba yung big classifications of important quality measures para masabi mong you're delivering quality education, no? Lahat syempre yun yung mga criteria. So lahat ng mga models may ganun. And when you look at all these models, the most general categorization of the dimensions ay pwede mong i-divide sa tatlo. Management, products or output, and the services. So sa management, dyan papasok yung mga institutional strategy, vision, mission, positioning of your institution, ano ngayon yung aim mo, ano yung objective mo, ano yung gusto mong, how are you positioning your school in the landscape of all these institutions that are in the country. Management. Then you have output products, yung curriculum mo, yung module design mo, that's the students that graduate from your institution, mga produkto ng school mo. And you have services, no? Dimensions of quality to. Ibig sabihin, dito ina-assess kung quality ba yung school mo by how it's managed, by anong klase yung mga courses nyo and how it measures up or ano yung mga graduates nyo. And services, what kind of services do you offer? Kaya student support, staff support, tech support, library, information resources, and so on. Generally, kahit maraming iba-iba na mga framework, nandyan lagi yan, pwede mo i-classify yan into those three general categories. So, pag titingin kayo ng mga quality framework, mapapansin nyo nga, ayan, naka-divide sila into two things. One is performance indicators, parang nga rubrics, parang ganun. You can assess your performance and it indicates whether you're below the quality, the threshold or just on the threshold or you're better. Tapos, kaakibat nun, syempre, sources of evidence. Kasi paano mo naman i-assess based on the evidence na mapoprovide mo. So, meron kang sources of evidence. Okay? Now, para mas maintindihan ninyo, I am going to show you two examples of QA frameworks. No? The first one I'm going to show you is the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC Quality Assurance of Online Learning Toolkit. It's a 2019 toolkit. And ayan. Ang findings nila, syempre, pag gumagawa sila ng mga ganito, different countries meet together, they compare, they hold workshops and write shops, they benchmark against each other kasi i-compare nila yung dimensions ba sa amin of quality, pareho sa dimensions niyo of quality. Kumusta ba ang QA nyo sa inyong bansa o kaya sa amin, ano ang online, paano kung online delivery sa inyo, paano yung sa amin, parang ganun ang ginagawa. And what they found out was different countries in the APEC region, they have different approaches talaga towards quality assurance of online and blended education. And regardless, no, it's still, yung online education still remains on the fringe of HEI systems. Kahit na syempre merong institution na dual, yung meron siya talagang face-to-face, pero meron din siyang open university component or distance learning component, medyo nasa fringe pa rin siya. Hindi pa siya ganun ka-mainstream. Although, itong mga institutions daw na meron ng established QA systems, kunyari yung mga yung nagpapa-assess na talaga, pwede mo pa rin i-subsube, pwede mo ipaloob yung online and blended learning within this already established QA systems. No? So you can end up with an integrated model of quality assurance. Itong APEC toolkit, na online learning toolkit na to, ang ginawa nila na kahit na syempre yung domain na yon, each domain or criterion ay specific to, syempre meron dyan online, specific to online or blended education. Kaya nga online learning toolkit, di ba? Pero kang approach to quality assurance na pwede mo pa rin i-apply to any mode of delivery kahit di siya online. Parang ano rin siya, it's still applicable. So, this is just, I'm just showing you this para nga magkaroon kayo ng idea. For example, this is summarized in this diagram. Yung APEC toolkit, they have 9 domains, no? So, ang 9 domains, pag sinabing domains, parang yan yung 9 major categories of na ina-assess nila. Tapos pwede mo siyang i-bunch din into 3 different general categories. So dito sa start, kunya, innovative culture. Yan, innovative culture, domains 1, 2, and 3. Diyan papasok ngayon yung leadership and management. Yung parang ganun, ina-assess mo yung leadership and management, ina-assess mo yung staffing and professional development, and review and improvement. So parang yun, nakapaloob yun sa innovative culture. Dito naman sa domains 4, 5, and 6, ang ina-assess mo student engagement. So yung resources, yung student support, tapos yung experience ng student. Tapos pagdating naman dito, output naman, student achievement. So, ina-assess mo ngayon yung learning outcomes. Yung bang outcomes ng graduates mo ay na-achieve mo nila yung outcomes na sinet out ng program at saka aligned ba sila? Tapos assessment and integrity and curriculum design. So, ngayon, each of these dimensions, ang syempre kunyari one dimension, ito ay domain, no? Tapos isa niyan, meron yan several sub-criteria na tapos for each of those, provide ka ng evidence. Pero each domain, meron yan underlying principle. And we're going to go through it briefly lang naman para lang maintindihan ninyo kung ano yung ibig sabihin na paano ito relevant, paano to na a-apply sa flexible learning. So, ang first domain, kunyari, leadership and management, diba? So, ang principle niyan, does the leadership and management actively support blended education by developing strategic plans, the delivery of online and blended education by developing strategic plans, creating performance indicators, and influencing the culture of quality within the institution. Yung sa domain 2, staffing profile. The staff, ang principle niyan, yung staff mo, yung teaching staff mo, or even the support staff mo, staff involved in the teaching, the management, and support of online and blended education, do they have appropriate qualifications or knowledge and skills required para ma-achieve yung outcomes, yung learning outcomes na sinet out ng institution mo. Yung domain on review, on program review and improvement. Regular, cyclical ba yung planned review mo? And yung data mo, yung performance data, yung evidence mo, nakakakuha ka ba ng feedback from your stakeholders? Kunyari, meron ka bang feedback from your tracer studies ng graduates mo? Meron ka bang feedback from alumni or feedback from employers and even your students? Nakakakuha ka ba nito? And do you feed this into regular planned cyclical reviews? Or baka naman nakatenga lang siya tapos siguro like 8 years na hindi ka pa nakakagawa ng bagong review. Diba? And once you have feedback, do you make use of that feedback to improve your program? Nasaan ngayon sa mo ipapasok yung improvement? The domain on resources. Does your institution have the necessary infrastructure, technical and digital infrastructure? Is it sufficiently resourced to enable accessible provision, reliable and compatible and provision of online education, regardless of where the students are located? The domain on student information and support. Are there mechanisms to identify students who require additional technical, educational, and personal support? Monitor ba yung mga students? And are the students aware that these support systems are in place? This, I think, you know the relevance of this in the pandemic, right? When we all shifted to online learning, na mamaya, ina-assume mo ba na lahat ng students mo, alam mo ba na ibang students mo, wala namang internet access, tapos all your courses are delivered in the LMS, di ba? Are you providing them the much needed support so that they can continue their classes? The student experience. The principle is that each student has the opportunity to interact socially and academically with staff and other students. And the feedback of the student experience is being monitored and it is acted on. Okay. Then, moving on to the domain on curriculum design. Is the curriculum design based on sound educational principles? Does it provide a coherent and interactive series of learning experiences that develop the knowledge and skills? Remember, this is an online teaching and learning toolkit. Now, for the domain on assessment, he just had webinar on assessment, right? And integrity. Is there a range of policies and mechanisms to ensure that the assessment tasks for the students studying online are clearly communicated to the students? They're effectively and efficiently moderated? And do they allow opportunities for the students to demonstrate the program learning outcomes? Remember, diba? Assessment is basically you want to see if the actual outcomes are aligned with the expected outcomes of the program and the course. Do the assessment methods you have allow the students to demonstrate this? And of course, the learning outcomes. It all comes down to learning outcomes. And we've been on outcomes-based education since 2012 in the country. Do the learning outcomes for students studying online, are the learning outcomes of online students equivalent to the face-to-face cohort? And are they assessed with the same rigor for the same qualification level? So yan, if you look at that, makikita mo na itong mga to ay obviously, syempre, mga medyo macro and meso level. Kasi hindi ba, parang kunyari online teacher ka, hindi mo naman, syempre, malay mo ba sa staffing pattern, malay mo ba sa management, di ba? So it's not your level. So what if you want to assess the quality of the courses you deliver? Meron din namang ganyan. And one example I am providing here to share with you for you to have an idea is this rubric created by the Commonwealth of Learning. It's a quality assurance rubric for blended learning. It came out in 2020, mainit-init pa, may bago pa to. Tapos, this was created by the Commonwealth of Learning. Ano ba ang Commonwealth of Learning? The Commonwealth is a group of countries that are organized that used to be British colonies. So, kasama syempre dyan ang UK na, no? Kasi syempre sila yung nag-colonize. Pero meron din yung mga ibang dating British colonies na they band together and they collaborate on all aspects. And this COL is for distance education. They have the mandate to promote the use of open learning and distance education knowledge, resources, and technology. So may mandate sila for that. And they've been around for a long time. And the interesting thing about this is, itong quality assurance rubric na to, they call it the rubric. No? This is for blended learning. It was developed by COL as part of their role there's this project called PEBL, Partnership for Enhanced Blended Learning Project. Ang punong abala dito ay it's in Africa, East Africa. Okay? So, I will show you, I'll move on to the project para mas maintindihan nyo. So, meron siya, it's a project, and then tatlo yung main, components. Tapos, kasama dyan, doon sa QA component, ang assigned Commonwealth of Learning. So, ano ba yung PEBL project? So, there was this network of institutions, educational institutions in East Africa. They were moving towards leveraging or fully utilizing blended learning. How? Bakit? Para ma-address yung shortage of qualified staff who can teach certain subject areas through the use of quality learning materials developed by subject matter experts. So parang gusto nilang i-address yun. Tapos online learning, yung courses na i-create nila, blended learning, pwede nilang gamitin sa mga programs, pwede nilang i-share across different institutions, pwede silang mag-collaborate. At ang tatlong aspects nito ay yung, syempre, de-develop mo yung course development, blended learning course development. Ang naka-assign dyan yung SEDA, Staff and Educational Development Association ng United Kingdom. Tapos, syempre, kung meron ka ng course, paano mo naman i-deliver? So, yung online learning management. So, University of Edinburgh naman ang in-charge doon. Tapos, once na meron ka ng course, meron ka ng delivery, quality assurance naman ang na-assign sa Commonwealth of Learning. Okay? So, okay. Bakit natin naisip i-share ito? Ang purpose nila in creating this rubric was para mag-guide ang mga tao to develop quality blended learning courses to enhance the learning experience. Ang kagandahan nito, pwedeng mag-guide individual lecturer ka, or faculty ka, or department ka, or institution ka mismo, pwede mong gamitin to. Okay? Kahit nga individual faculty member ka, pwede mo gamitin to quality assure your courses. Ang isa pang kagandahan nito is it's an open educational resource. It has a Creative Commons license. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, itong rubric na to, you can modify this and redistribute this as long as the attribution is given to the original authors. And we will look into that later. We will see that later. Okay. Now, so let's go to this quality assurance of the PEBL project. Kasi syempre, this was a collaboration, not just it was between several countries, di ba? So dapat, tapos gagawa ka ng courses, so dapat talaga na itong courses na to ma-meet yung standards, hindi lang nung national standards, hindi lang yung institutional standards mo, but also national and regional quality standards. Kasi collab siya ng countries in East Africa . And ang ano nila dito, blended learning. And you know, I put this in here para maintindihan niyo yung spectrum. Kasi pag flexible learning ka, syempre maraming contexts. It's a continuum of interventions that you can do, which are network and technology enabled. On one end, you have the face-to-face. On the other hand, you have the fully online. So meron kang traditional face-to-face, fully face-to-face. Meron kang traditional na fully online. Meron kang online, fully online. In between, you have web facilitated and hybrid. Yun yung blended learning. Diba? So halo ang face-to-face at ang online environments. But the operative word here is it's purposeful fusion. It's purposeful fusion of face-to-face and online environments to conduct teaching and learning. Okay? Hindi siya bara-bara. Now, why did we choose this rubric as an exemplar na para maintindihan ninyo kung paano kunyari mag-QA sa micro level. It's a general approach to fully examine the design process, the course design process, tapos tinitake niya into consideration yung context, yung orientation, yung content, yung instructional design, yung use of technology, the experience of the students, and other areas relevant to delivering and designing a blended learning course. Tapos there are 5 other nice reasons on why we're using it. Una-una, it's a very comprehensive undertaking from primary sources. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Kasi syempre, pag may nakikita kang mga sources online, may nakikita kang mga kung ano, mga rubrics, mga framework, yung iba dyan, syempre, minsan, hindi mo na QA para minsan isang institution lang, hindi naman na peer review, or para minsan hindi naman natin sinasabing pag isang institution lang ang nag-form o kaya isang college, hindi na siya maganda, no? Pero syempre, the more input you have and the more robust your evidence, mas maganda syempre kasi may peer review na vet ng ibang tao. Itong particular rubric na to, it incorporates inputs from 33 senior administrators, consultants, and academics from 25 institutions. Can you imagine that, no? Now, the inputs are either they're directly or indirectly involved in their own institution's QA processes. So, primary source sila. Kasi talagang involved sila. Punong-abala sila sa kanya-kanya mga QA processes. Or they were contracted to support capacity building. So, kung directly involved ka, probably QA focal person ka or QA director or QA officer. Indirectly, then probably vice chancellor ka for academic affairs or kunyari consultant ka. In any case, primary source yon, tas maraming involved, so very comprehensive. Tapos, itong contributors na to, they are privy to the issues of their own institution. So, kung ano man input nila, it reflects the institutional needs ng kanilang context ng kanilang country. In other words, aware sila. Hindi sila basta ano sila, parang in the loop, parang ganon. And then, this rubric was also vetted by individuals from 4 national and international bodies, and it was also reviewed by 2 international QA experts. So it passed through so many reviews. The 4th reason is that it also contains items on open educational resources, including the requirement to source existing OERs in developing a blended learning course, and also to release the course itself as an OER. So it encourages the use of open educational resources. This study itself, this rubric itself, like I mentioned, is also an open educational resource. It has a Creative Commons, number 5, it has a Creative Commons license, which means you can share this rubric, you can copy and redistribute the material in any medium or any format. Gusto mo gumawa ng video about this or gusto mo mag-podcast. And you can also adapt it. You can remix it. You can build upon it. You can transform it for any purpose, kahit nga commercial, no? For a commercial purpose, as long as you follow the conditions of the license, which are attribution, you link to the license, and share alike. Meaning, if you're going to share also by the same, parang the same license as the Creative Commons license that this material is under. 'Di ba? Share alike. Hindi ka man lalamang na pagkakakitaan mo, libre nga binigay sa'yo, tapos pagkakakitaan, di ba? Hindi naman maganda yon. So, for that reason, di ba maganda tong rubric na to kasi very useful siya, tapos it has all these attributes, tapos vetted pa. Pasensya na ha, kasi I don't know why it's not, I'm doing this mano-mano, so there you go. Now, this particular rubric has 8 categories. Yung categories parang dimensions yun, or domains if you want, no? Tapos, each has, and it has 50 quality elements. Actually, nakailang iteration na tong rubric na to. Ginamit na to ng ilang institutions, tapos nag-feedback, tapos tinweak nila, ni-revise nila. Ito na yung, I don't know pang ilang iteration to, pero this is the most current one. So, ang categories na ginagamit nila, remember, this is course, a blended learning course, no? QA of a course. So, ang mga dimensions nila ay navigation, content, instructional design, the course structure, the student support, the technology and media use, assessment, and quality assurance and evaluation. And for each criterion, meron kang mga 6 quality elements para mga sub-criteria. So we'll go through this one by one. Hindi naman ganun kahaba, and actually this is the last section. So tama-tama lang, we just have enough time to finish this. So ganito yung itsura, no, ng framework. So doon tayo sa first na domain, first category, which is navigation and orientation. So it has to do with, is the course well organized? Is it easy to navigate from the home page to the course units, to the links, to the forum? Tapos, ito yung sinasabi nating quality element. So under itong main category ng navigation or orientation, meron kang several quality elements. Tapos, ito yung qualifier. Iti-check mo kung was this fully met, was this partially met, was this not met, or hindi ba applicable. And then, kunyari, chinek mo, no? Example, ang unang quality element nakalagay, there are instructions on how to navigate the course site. Maglalagay ka ngayon dito ng evidence kaya chinek mo yan, fully met. Maglalagay ka ngayon ng evidence dito, which may be a link probably to the course site, or maybe a screenshot and then a link to ilalagay mo sa Google Drive mo, i-link mo dito. Pag ngayon, pag medyo kunyari nando ka sa not met or not applicable, kunyari hindi mo nalagay, improvement needed, dito mo ngayon ilalagay yung areas, yung corrective action mo. Okay? So ganun yan, that goes for all. Ganito ang framework, ganito mag-quality assure pag flexible, pag blended learning. So kaya sa navigation, ano yung mga sub-criteria? Instructions on how to navigate the site, instructions on how learners should engage with the course, anong proportion, flexible learning to, right? Anong proportion ng online? Anong proportion ng face-to-face? Tapos, where feasible, do the materials open up in the course site itself rather than as pop-up windows or separate Word documents? Again, konteksto yan, ha? Kasi minsan, mas maganda naman yung meron kang, kunyari, hindi ka makalog in sa course site. Minsan nga, advantageous pa yung separate Word document, di ba? Kasi pwede mo siyang i-access offline. O kaya PDF file, pwede mo i-access offline. Dito mo ngayon, syempre, pwede mong i-tweak ngayon, pwede kang mag-comment dyan. Is there a breadcrumb trail at the top of a given page for easy navigation? Yung breadcrumb trail, yun yung, kunyari you have a 12-week course, hindi mo na kailangan mag-scroll down kay week 10. Kasi meron naman sa taas na may link na pag kinlik mo week 10, diretso ka na doon. So breadcrumb trail yung tawag doon. Tapos, there is sufficient indication of where materials are to be used online and face-to-face settings. Tapos merong help option or tech support to support learners with frequently asked questions and so on. So yan, no? That's the first one for navigation or orientation. Now, okay. Now let's go to content. Ito yung pinakamalaki. So, ang principle dito, learners can engage with the content and with their peers and the expectations are clear. So, yung mga sub-criteria yan, or it's puro learning outcomes. Marami dito learning outcomes. Are they clearly defined against the academic standards? Are they aligned with the relevant learning framework? Kunyari, Bloom's taxonomy, tama ba ang pagsulat mo ng mga learning objectives mo, yung mga outcomes mo? Descriptive text and media, do they promote good understanding of the subject matter? Does the content promote interaction among students and the instructor? The requirements for the number of study hours, are they met? No? Hindi ba may requirement ang DepEd, ang CHED regulatory authority? The course level identified? Course content accurate and up to date, relevant? Does it meet the institutional and transfer credit requirements? Are the references clear, proper ba, up to date and relevant yung information? Wala ka bang dead link? Active ba yung link? Are the materials properly cited in attribution and referenced? Wala bang plagiarism? And are they copy edited for accuracy? Wala naman mga typo errors or mga na-proofread ba to? And so on. Now, instructional design. Ano dyan? Is the content pedagogically sound? Diba? Triple alignment. Are the learners exposed to a variety of learning activities? Are they aligned to the learning outcomes? No? Triple alignment. Instructional materials, do they contribute to the outcomes? Are active learning strategies used that engage the student and promote the achievement of these outcomes? Do the learning activities provide opportunities for interaction? Remember, di ba, pag online, very paramount talagang interaction, especially since you want to establish your presence, your online presence, kasi hindi ka nga face-to-face. So very important talagang interaction pag flexible learning. Do you have access to external programs and softwares? Do you have are the media thoughtfully integrated in the course? Yung mga short videos, yung interactive features. Is the learning management system learner-friendly? Yung konting click lang or konti lang yung minimal external links to click on. Tapos are the learning activities designed to engage the students in critical thinking? Tapos for course structure, the principle is that the course has been properly conceptualized para ma-reflect ang good practices, organized siya, yung presentation niya, aesthetically sound siya. So is the presentation logical? Yung sequence ng course mo, hindi ba siya parang from simple to mas pahirap, di ba? Tapos hindi ka patalon-talon. Although syempre there's this Zoom technique, right? Pero is it logically sequenced? Is the course structure flexible, allowing for easy updating? Is the course structure, does it include links to the library databases or accessible links to the LMS? Is the course properly licensed as OER where feasible? Yung course na to, I think, itong tinetake nyo now, it's OER dapat to, di ba? The course, does it meet the institutional guidelines? Does it enable a good mix of learning resources and faculty support? Tapos yung fifth, yan. In this frame, you can see student support and technology. For student support, do the students have access to face-to-face support? To support in both face-to-face and online mode, kasi nga, di ba, flexible learning to. Meron kang both components. Does the course have clearly defined instruction for learners to satisfy the course requirements and the learning outcomes? Are the tutors trained adequately and qualified to facilitate the blended learning course? Are the students provided with orientation on both components? Are there clear instructions on how and when students should expect feedback? Okay. Tapos for the technology and the media, is appropriate technology selected? Tama ba ang ginamit na akma ba ang technology doon sa pedagogy? The selection of technological tools, yung LMS, yung gamit na mobile apps, have they been carefully considered in terms of infrastructure available and learner access and learner context, di ba? The selected technology support. The selected technologies, do they support the completion of activities that enhance completion of the learning outcomes? Or parang ginagamit mo lang ba siya parang bells and whistles, alam mo yun, parang cool siya tignan, pero actually hindi naman siya in support of the learning outcome. The learning management system, does it provide an option to download the resources for offline consumption? Kunyari, PDF file, kaya Moodle offline. Does the technology enable learners to communicate and to collaborate? Meron ba siyang collaborative function, di ba? And is the course site device or browser agnostic? Ibig sabihin, pwede mong gamitin on across many mobile devices, multiple browsers. Okay? And for the last dimensions, okay, 7. I'm sorry. Yan. Assessment. The principle is assessment procedures are clear and accessible. They're regularly conducted and they use different kinds of assessment. Sub-criteria are the learners provided with information on how they will be assessed in the course. Meron bang marking guide? Meron bang rubric na provided? Do the assessment measure the formative and summative assessment? Do the assessment tools facilitate self-evaluation or feedback? Tapos, do they measure the mastery of the learning outcome? Aligned ba sila? Aligned ba ang assessment sa activities at sa learning outcomes? And lastly, we go to quality assurance and evaluation. No? So the principle is quality assurance has been implemented thoroughly in the design and the plans are in place for continuous quality assurance. And what does that mean? Kasi dapat syempre iterative yan. Diba? Hindi ka pwede i-evaluate mo tapos may feedback ka. You use it to improve. Hindi yung parang, okay, so ganun pala yung feedback mo, then wala kang gagawin. Nagpa-feedback ka pa, di ba? You use the feedback to improve on the program and then you try it out again. So iterative talaga siya, no? So ang tinitignan dyan, the course has been or is being subjected to quality assurance processes with the same rigor as face-to-face course. Hindi porke online para medyo mas nagsaslack ka. Siyempre, pag all the more nga pag online, ini-evaluate mo siya kung maayos siya. Tapos, are plans or schedules in place for online courses to be reviewed to make sure that the provider keeps pace with changes in both the technology and the content. Kasi minsan, syempre, yung tinuturo mo, kopong-kopong pa, like 19-something na, hindi na obsolete na yung mga natututunan mo. So, it has to be regularly updated. And lastly, is course evaluation enabled for the learners to provide feedback on the blended learning experience, including the course content? Diba ang ganda? So, you can look into the course kahit instructor ka, hindi mo naman kailangan yung mga management at mali ko ba kung staffing pattern. Pero swak ito sa course ko. I can actually assess my course. I can look into nakaka-relate ako dito, no? At the micro level, the blended learning. Tapos hindi lang siya fully online. Pwede siya sa flexible mode. Diba? Nakita nyo naman may mga parameters na ang ina-assess both face-to-face at saka online component, no? So, to wrap it all up, in summary, what did we do this afternoon? Napansin yun, this is off topic. I chunked my topics in threes kasi, di ba, that's it's a learning working capacity of your memory. You absorb more if they're in threes. So, what is quality assurance, and how is quality assurance done in flexible learning? And for each component, and what is quality, we learned that quality is relative. We learned about the 5 different perspectives on quality. We also learned that quality is multidimensional and multi-level, and it's dynamic. So dapat ma-incorporate mo yan sa framework mo. And then after studying about what quality is, we moved on to quality assurance. Ano ba yung quality assurance? We learned that it's actually process, no? You need to have a mechanism in place to assess whether what you're delivering is of quality. Bakit naman natin ginagawa to? Kasi meron naman beneficial uses of quality assurance. And then we gave examples of regional quality assurance, and we also showed how it is actually aligned and related with other quality assurance frameworks all over the world. And lastly, for the last part, how is quality assurance done in flexible learning? So we learned of the importance of quality assurance in flexible learning kasi gusto mo nga i-QA yung online component. We went through a summary of the key points of the ICDE 2015 Global Report. Tapos nalaman natin na yung mga frameworks na yan, merong macro, may meso, tapos may micro level. And I also showed you some QA frameworks or models or systems in place at the global and institutional level and the individual practice level. And hopefully, when you are planning for your courses, you can use the rubric that I shared with you for guidance in assessing the quality of the courses you deliver or the programs you deliver in the individual practice level. So that wraps up my talk for this afternoon. Thank you very much. I have, here are my references na I'm flashing to you, pero I'm sure hindi mo naman mababasa. So you just look at my recorded session. All of the references in the talk, the links are in the references, and you can see this in the recorded session. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop share right now. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to entertain them. Am I turning you over to the organizers, or am I handling this myself? Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
We can facilitate the open forum po together. We will just collect the questions from UPOU Networks and YouTube Live.
Okay, thank you. You know, actually, yun nga, kasi this is not really a mainstream topic, right? So generally, syempre, mahirap magtanong doon sa hindi naman kayo masyadong familiar. So if you want to share challenges, you can also thank you and thank you also. If you can share struggles or challenges, and you can share your experiences, we'll be happy to hear it. So we can share it with all the participants. I'm scrolling through the chat to see if there are questions. Thank you everyone. Thank you also to everyone who's saying thank you in the chat box. So yeah. I found a question, okay? So here it is. Teka, umpisahan na lang natin kasi baka ma-miss ko. Okay. Okay, I'm scrolling down. Oh, we have a lot of people from far off places. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Nakakatuwa naman, ang lalayo. Okay, here, there's one. What are some strategies for quality assurance with a massive number of material developers in an institution? What do you mean kaya? Is Mr. or Miss Jace Chavez, are you here? Where there is a need to train assessors? Do you want to unmute and explain your question? What are some strategies for quality assurance with a massive number of materials developers? Is Ms. Chavez or Mr. Chavez here?
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Chavez. Ano ibig mo sabihin
Yeah,
po?
I'm Jason from Zamboanga. Kasi
Oh,
ma'am,
Jason. Yeah, sige.
we have around more than 200 regular faculty and the same
Hmm.
number of visiting lecturers. So there
Hmm.
are only a few of us are enrolled here. And I think
Mm-mm.
that's one of our challenges siguro in the near future on how to do quality assurance given na madami yung faculty members. And maybe
Mm.
ano ko na rin ma'am, do you have recommendations as to possible matrix on how to train people for assessing or doing the quality assurance?
Actually, yun nga, like what you said, I thank you, Mr. Chavez. And would you like to share what institution you're from? Zamboanga
Oh,
ka, di ba?
yeah, thank you very much. I'm from Zamboanga, Peninsula Polytechnic State University po.
Okay, hello. Ngayon, kasi unang-una nga, mahirap na nga, since marami kayo, the best will be first to do it at their own level. Kasi hindi ba, paano mo siya, parang alam mo yon yung you police yourself and you have this very easy rubric to follow that you can easily, hindi siya, when you look at the rubric, hindi naman siya complicated. I-check mo nga lang kung meron ka or not, no? So you can start with that on an individual level. And then what you can do is you can collaborate, you can form teams, or sometimes what other institutions do is exchange paper sila. Alam mo yun, you check out my course and I check out yours. And they compare. Actually, mahirap talaga mag-work nag-iisa. Kasi bakit? Iba-iba tayong levels of knowledge when it comes to technology. Iba-iba rin naman yung ating capacity at capability, di ba? So, if your question is yung quality assurance na maraming sobrang dami, maybe you should start with a simple one that everyone can do on their own. And then moving forward from that, talang baby steps, kung pwede mo nang i-QA yung course mo, tapos, di ba parang sa institution, syempre ayaw mo naman ng, syempre parang bilib na bilib ako sa sarili ko, parang gandang-ganda ako sa course site ko. Yung pala, I believe my own hype. Di syempre parang gusto mo rin ipakita naman doon sa colleague mo, check mo naman yung ano ko, okay ba tong assessment ko? But parang ganon, no? It starts like that. Some even work as a team in creating their own. When they create their own course packs, they do it as a team. Hindi as in nagde-divide, parang sabay sila gumagawa, parang tas nagtutulong-tulungan sila. So you can start with that. You asked about a matrix on uh, how to assess. Actually, you can use the same matrix, but it's the parang yung oversight, 'di ba? Oversight is parang gagamitin mo lang the same simple matrix, pero you're just going to siguro parang alam mo yung oversight, instead of you overseeing yourself or your peer overseeing yourself, pwede mo mag-create ka ng second level. Like you can have a QA committee or you can have a QA focal person, parang ganun. So maraming levels, but generally you can use the same rubric. Yung matrix ko kasi parang we don't want to complicate matters, di ba? Kaya okay na to, you can do that. I'm talking about simple simple micro level QA. Now, if you're talking about yung mga tipong AUNQA self-assessment report levels, ayun, kailangan talaga yung where is there a need to train assessors. Yung ganong level, kailangan institutional training yan. Meron kayong magsa-start kayo by sending some focal persons to train for assessment of programs, and then they will cascade it to the other people in your university. That's how to do the meso and the macro level. So recap, micro level, you can start with a simple rubric like I shared. Tapos, unti-unti move on. Meso and macro, dapat magpa-train kayo. Tapos i-ano nila. Parang ganito, hindi ba? This is supposed to be a teacher training. Then you're going to cascade it to your colleagues. Parang ganon. You can also do it that way. I hope I answered your question. Tama ba yung intindi ko sa tanong mo? Okay, so we're scrolling down. Questions. Yung magagandang support team ko, baka naman meron kayong question na gustong ibato sa akin para kasi walang breadcrumb trail itong ating chat box. So I'm trying to scroll down. Hello ma'am, will you be providing a copy of your slides? The whole recording will be in the module 8 of the course site. So you will see me again there in nasa recording. You can actually, syempre, pwede mo naman i-pause, pwede mo naman balikan, no? So you can see this, Tapos, ano pa? What are some strategies for, ito na pala yun. Ba't ako pa ulit-ulit? Ito, I wonder if CHED has a tool to evaluate flexible learning in the Philippines. Also, if the tool is appropriate to our context. I'm not aware if CHED has a tool. I honestly, that's a good, pwede i-adapt. But I don't think CHED has a tool, right? I don't want to commit. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So I'm sorry, but maybe I can look into it. What QA model can give quality education and what are some of the assessment tools? Ayun na nga. Kasi ano ba definition mo? Which brings me, ano ba definition mo ng quality education? Yan ang tanong ko. Tapos, what QA model? There are different QA models. No, depende yan sa konteksto mo, konteksto ng institution mo, what you want. Maraming drivers. Like, what is your institution? Ano ba vision at mission ng institution mo? Ano ba ang outcomes na gusto ng institution mo, di ba? Yan yung sinasabi ko nga, that's the complicated thing. You can't answer, much as I would like to answer it, I can't answer it right now kasi iba-iba yung konteksto. But if you get together with your colleagues and your institution, your officials, yan, masasagot nyo yan as a team. Kasi institutional kayo di ba? Pare-pareho kayo. You can do that. Thank you also. Thank you. Oh, thank you naman. Thank you. What flexible learning model can you recommend? Ito actually maganda. Try mo yung model. Are you asking about the rubric? Try nyo itong rubric. This one is okay. Itong the one I presented. Rubric to for assessment. That's my. Do you have training materials and curriculum to train more QA assessors? I think I answered that, no? Do you have, how can we assure ma'am QA at this time of the pandemic? Ayan na nga, ang mahirap. Kasi, again, it depends on your level, on your definition of quality. Let's begin with the realization na nung nag-start kayo mag-remote teaching nung pandemic, di ba? Para kayong anong tawag dito? Yung parang biglaan talaga kayo nag-migrate na wala namang kayong masyado pang alam. So, of course, tapos everyone is in challenging situations. So, right now, nung una kayong nag-shift to remote learning, if you are going to weigh in everything, all the factors, including the compassion and the struggles and the challenges, di ba parang ang hirap naman mag-enforce ng QA at that time? Kasi actually, you're just struggling making the course pack. Hindi pa nga QA making pa lang the course pack, mahirap. Inaaral pa di ba? So it's kind of difficult. No? That's a very difficult question to answer. That is at the start, no? But now, since we've been in this situation for more than a year, and kahit papano medyo meron na tayong alam, meron na nakailang ilang SEMs na tayo, medyo natutunan na natin kung ano yung what works, what doesn't work. We have the capacity and the capability to tweak how we make our courses, how we design our courses. Now, ang sagot dyan, una muna, i-establish mo ano ang definition mo ng quality. Right? What is quality for you? Are you going to enforce quality in the sense na paano pag yung half the class didn't meet yan, anong level of quality? Kunyari, are you going to be very strict about the passing or the what kind of or in assessing the quality of the output of your students? How strict are you going to be? Di ba? Ang dami-dami talagang factors. It will be very, very hard to answer. And ang makakasagot dyan ay kayo. Kasi you are in the position to tweak or to adapt whatever you are teaching to your current context. It's not for us to say, kasi we are in a different context. Kayo, masasabi ninyo how you want it delivered. Or you can, your colleagues in the same institution, in the same program probably, in the same context, yan, pwede kayo mag-usap. And then, you parang redefine what is quality for us at the moment in this pandemic. Tanungin niyo yan sa sarili niyo in your heart of hearts. Ito ba am I going to go for excellence, or am I going to redefine my definition of magbababa ka ba? Ika-curve mo ba yung will curving the pag may exam, are you going to consider that not parang a deterioration of quality? Ganun ba? Parang ganun. Yung mga ganun kayo yung makakasagot nun. Okay? Thank you also. Rubric design, hindi ko kasi scope yan. Pero marami naman nasa internet, no? Rubric is under assessment. Assessment. Pwede niyong i-message sino ba nagturo ng assessment sa inyo. Yon message nyo sa hi po, Dr. Raimundo. May I ask if you have a quality assurance evaluation tool developed locally here in the Philippines? I think sa institutions meron, institutional level, may mga ganon, kanya-kanya. Pero yung as parang a national, I don't think we have. Institutions, I know we have several institutions na meron sa kanya-kanyang ginagawa. Actually, before I got hold of this rubric, the one I used to use was it's again an OER, no? OER siya. CalChico. It's in the Open Educational Resources Repository also. It was developed by a college in the United States. It started like that. They developed it for their own purposes. I think part of it was also they had to do with their own purposes, like parang scholarships or benchmarking. And then eventually, since maganda yung pagkakagawa nila, shinare nila yung license, tapos maraming natuwa, and then ayun, open educational resource na siya. Meron tayong kanya-kanya. Some schools have their own, pero yung national, I don't think we have. The phrase willing learners and teachers is very interesting. How does unwillingness for both learners and teachers affect the achievement of quality in flexible learning? Maganda to. Tanong ko kayo, kung kunwari nag-shift kayo to remote learning, tapos kunyari ayaw mo talagang hindi mo talaga type magturo online, right? Tapos tina-try mo gumawa ng course pack, nahihirapan ka kasi di mo gets kung paano yung pinapagawa. Tapos hindi ka naman techie lalo na, 'di ba? Hindi ka techie. Tapos kung hindi po kayo maalam sa learning management system, so yung nagsa-struggle kayo. Tapos bibigyan kayo ng large class na 250. Yun. Tapos unwilling ka naman, ayaw mo gawin yun. Tapos nagsa-struggle ka kasi yung dalawang mong anak naka-online learning din. Tapos ikaw rin naman yung nagtuturo, ikaw rin yung gumagawa ng project. So it's very hard, right? No? So, well, in a way, sometimes it will in some certain ways affect how you deliver your courses, di ba? Siguro, lalo na pag ang tagal-tagal mo nang ginagawa. When it comes naman to learners, di ba, learners, syempre, ayaw mo naman mag-online. Ako, ang dami-dami kong alam na students are not really, they don't like this online mode. And especially, lalo yung mga synchronous, kunyari Zoom sessions from morning to the afternoon. So, hindi naman sila willing, pero kailangan lang nila mag log in, manood. So, syempre, pag nadidemotivate ka, it can also affect the quality of your performance. And I know for a fact that that happens. Kasi yung iba, nag-LOA na nga di ba? Kasi ang hirap talaga. Ang hirap. So in a way, it does affect. Unwilling meaning hindi naman kayo talaga parang yung mga parang na-compel lang kayo parang na-impose lang ito sa inyo, right? Na-impose. So ayun. Okay. This is a potential concern. How do we carefully process QA without being accused that it might infringe on the academic freedom of our instructors? That's a valid concern. That's a valid concern. Diyan nga papasok din po yung concern about innovation. Example po, kunyari, ikaw yung I don't know, maybe you have a structure for quality assurance na you're evaluating your teachers. Tapos there's this, because you have a set, kunyari, I don't know, if you have a set framework, kunyari, in your institution, tapos meron kayong level. It doesn't even have to be, QA framework. Kunyari lang, simpleng assessment of performance. Di ba? Tapos po, what if you have this innovative teacher who tried something new? Tapos, nasa within the boundaries of academic freedom naman niya yun, di ba? Kasi pwede naman niyang i-tweak yung delivery of yung kanyang course, yung learning activity, yung kanyang mode of delivery, hindi mo type, di ba? So, syempre, or you feel na it's not effective, or pwede rin naman na you have teachers who use this very high-tech tools, technological tools, but it's actually not aligned with the outcomes or not aligned with yung triple alignment, yung constructive alignment, o hindi naman siya necessary, or pag i-analyze mo yung sa learners, hindi din naman siya needed. The same, you can actually achieve the same outcome, or you can achieve the objectives using a less techie tool that more students will have access to, gawa ng hindi na kailangan ng malaking bandwidth. If you have, ang sagot lang po dyan, if you have, you can clear yung framework, clear yung domains, clear yung criteria, diba? Hindi kasi tayo dapat rin prescriptive. So siguro, pwede naman idaan yan sa feedback or comments, ganyan. Pero, it will only infringe on the academic freedom if you impose. Diba? Kapag sinabi mo na wag mong gawin yan, ayun. But if it comes off as parang feedback or comments, diba? It shouldn't. I don't think it will. Ingat lang tayo po on prescriptive measures, and in passing off our, kunwari, imposing our own biases, di ba? Sometimes we tend to favor this kind of delivery, tapos hindi ka masyadong agree doon sa isang delivery. Kasi meron kanya-kanya tayong, we should give each other leeway in how to deliver our courses, para po ganun. Okay? Yes, Ched checks for QA. Ched, would you like to share, Miss Ma'am Regina Sitoy? Are you here? Would you like to share your quiz? She has a comment here. Yes, Ched checks for QA. Ched just assessed our FLS, including online class observation and other procedures. Will you be, gusto niyo po mag-share? Ma'am Regina, or are you shy? Message lang po kayo if you want. I'm scrolling down. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you po. If we are to develop, Sir Alvin, if we are to develop quality assurance evaluation rubric for flexible learning in our own institution, are we allowed to make use of the rubric from Commonwealth of Learning as benchmark? You can actually use it. Nag-attribute lang po. Yung Creative Commons to eh. You can use the actual rubric. Pwede mo pang pampalitan, pwede mong i-tweak, pwede mong gamitin. But whenever you use it, attribution lang po. And if you're going to share it, you use the same license that Commonwealth of Learning used. You can actually use the same rubric. Hindi lang yung benchmark. Gamitin nyo na kasi sinashare naman eh, di ba? Para hindi na po kayo, shy si Ma'am Regina. Okay lang po. Kwento ko na lang po sa kanila. I wasn't part of the committee. Yan. I wasn't part of the committee who was assigned to prepare the documents during the assessment po. But it was my class that they observed. Oh, so yon, SHED evaluates. SHED evaluates. Thank you po. Okay lang po na shy kayo. At least nag-feedback kayo sa chat. So I really appreciate this. Okay, so that's the last of the ones in the chat. Nandiyan po ba ang magandang support staff ko? Ayan, you can share. Gusto niyo na po mag-share? Kahit po walang video, boses lang po. Yeah, Ma'am Shai, she can't unmute. Pwede mo siya
Opo, ma'am.
i-unmute?
Hello, Anne. Pwede mo ba i-unmute si Ma'am Regina Sitoy?
Regina Sitoy. Ma'am,
Hello
thank
po.
you ha. I appreciate your sharing. Sige po, share po natin.
It's okay po. Good afternoon po, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yung sa class observation ko po, they really checked on how the students were able to, connect to during the Zoom class. And they were also monitoring kung ilan yung nawala, tapos biglang pumasok. Tapos they ask if we can turn on the video. Tapos they also checked on the visual aid that I presented, how techy it was and how user friendly it was. And they also checked on the interaction between teacher, between students, student to students. And of course, since it was, we're from the College of Education, they also checked on the how they articulated themselves in English. Yes, because that's our official mode of instruction. So they were also keen into that. So yun lang po.
Oh, very interesting, ma'am. Ma'am, if I may ask, saan po kayong institution?
At Cebu Technological University po.
Oh, doon po ba nag-graduate si Richard Gomez?
Yes po. Yes.
Curious lang po ako. Siyempre, alam ko. Paano po, this was in a Zoom setting po and Shed was observing from the same platform? Ganun po
Yes.
ba yung ginawa? Oh,
Yes po.
this is
We gave the link to my class. And so they really observed along with the committee as to, so from the very start, the usual class observation from how we motivate till the ending, yung activities and assessment.
Thank you po for sharing. I wasn't aware of this and I'm sure po very helpful po yan sa lahat ng mga attendees natin na ano pong assessment? Paano po to? This was an assessment of your institution po? Ng
Yes po.
Shed?
Yes, it was based on the CMO po, yung the one you showed. Yes.
Opo, yung CMO.
Yes,
this
so
is
we
very
were,
interesting.
I think we were one of the first few institutions that they started assessing. Yun po.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing po, Ma'am Regina.
It's okay.
So, yan. So, ayan po. So, Shed actually does assessments and that's how they conducted it. So, at least aware po tayo. Talagang they're hindi lang po, pati po yung mga technical side, yung mga interactions din, ganun. So, all of those come into play pag assessments po. No? So that's very interesting. Thank you po ulit for sharing. So, they also check our LCP if it's also aligned to blended learning. Meron po bang wala naman po silang binigay na, Ma'am Regina, wala silang binigay. Tinatanong po ng ibang participants natin, pero wala silang binigay na framework or rubric na kanila na to follow para pong in-assess lang kayo, no? Hindi naman sila naggumawa ng, yan, Chad has been doing assessments. Okay. So, thank you po. If you have, if meron po kayong gustong i-add or i-share to everyone in this class, you can comment po in the course site, no? The module 8, module 8. Pwede naman pong mag-comment doon or sharing. Di po ba? Meron naman discussion forum doon. And you can also add para po for the information of others. Okay, so Ms. Shai and Ms. Anne, ano nang gagawin natin? It's time check. It's 3:50.
It's 3:51, ma'am. Ma'am, we have over 20 participants watching via UPOU networks and YouTube Live. They do not have questions, but they expressed their thanks to you for their learning this afternoon.
Thank you also for watching. Thank you very much. So, pag mayroon po kayong questions, pwede naman po kayong message sa akin. Nandun naman po ako sa course site. And then you can also re-watch. Pasensya na po kanina, hindi po alam na wala pala hindi pala nakikita yung slides. Pero you can see, hindi nga nila makikita yung slides. Na Miss Shai, paano gagawin ko? The PowerPoint, can we upload that? Ganun ba yun? So what they will see is the recording,
ma'am? We can upload it.
Yeah, I can provide
Yes,
na lang the PowerPoint so you can have it. Okay? So thank you very much. So, yun.